He was sent into the most difficult game of all, a tower defense with Dan attack, and now he will have to survive various trials if you want to get out of there alive, from giant monsters to hordes of creatures. Thirsty for blood, explore this incredible story to discover how a strategist would emerge victorious from big battles. Let's go. Video I finally finished this, __ game. That's it, me. I finally finished this damn game. The chat exploded. Messages realizing how incredible this accomplishment had been. This was the game that it had a very high difficulty. It was called Empire Defense, and now it's done. Years after it was released, and finally someone got it. Finish it, that's right, and I was the one who achieved this feat. They doubted it, and yet I continued. No matter how difficult a game is, it was made to be zeroed. I'm a game streamer, but a streamer a little different. I'm someone who only plays the most difficult games. My channel link is OMG chat. Thanks for the donations to 00. No thanks to you. I want you from yourself too. My God, for you, what the girl who. And then being the first person to manage to finish this ridiculously difficult game after 10 years of its release. There is no better achievement for a gamer, but if I had one regret, I think it would be that when looking at the chat you notice something. Message where the person said they were sad because the saint ended up dying at the end of the battle. It was a character from Grade R but still managed to contribute a lot to the development of the game. He was silent for a second. While I was thinking, I don't know if it was because V became attached to the characters during the game, but I really wanted all the characters to stay alive. After the last battle, however, at the end, removing the main character, Lucas, everyone ended up dying, so he found himself thinking that his focus as a gamer wasn't keeping them all alive, but rather being able to reach the end of the game with the final boss of the game killed the princess of the lake who couldn't sleep during the game. It ended. But even so, Lucas remained standing in that same position facing the body of the boss he had just killed on top of the mountain formed by bodies of allies and enemies, because this ended up being a regret. Even if he was just a character in a game, he had his back turned but still appeared to be very lonely. End of the game. He continued to the credits while felt a very strange sensation, then came across a message asking if developers shouldn't reward you for your achievement, but why? Is that they would give me a prize. Another person commented that this type of game is one of those that should be cancelled for its high difficulty, and yet he had managed to finish it with maximum difficulty, and therefore he should. Being awarded, he understood what it was about, so he responded to people, but why should they give me something? I mean, I don't think it's necessary, right? Everyone has already had a lot of fun with this game, so it's something that's already great for me. Several comments. They appeared saying that he would really like something, and that it was something obvious, comparing him to what he didn't see when he denied it. Who wasn't hopeful for a capable prize. People aren't even that into it. He remember that the developers had stopped working on the game a long time ago, and that the producer did not comment nothing about a sequel even after years aimed, so there would be no way for anyone to know. Which I chose to reset. Ugo Lady sent a message. Hello. Classic Nerd Senior, I'm the director of IR Defense. When he noticed this message, he was with my mouth open for not imagining that this could happen. In the chat again exploded after realizing who it was first. I would like to thank you for not having gave up because he had managed to do something that no one else had achieved. He seemed foolish while admiring the landscape. This is real, but seeing how you did it, I was relieved, and I really need to thank you for that. You need to thank me. It wasn't a big deal. I'm glad we still have some hope. He wondered what the director of Empire Defense was talking about. What happened to Hope by chance? He's doing Empire Defense too, or something like that. You've proven your skill. Account started to faint. What is wrong? Happening? Is it because I played for too long? I hope my audience call. Ask for help or something. The last thing he saw was the message on his screen. Thanks for playing IR. Defense. A large bang can be heard. Large impacts seemed to hit the ground. When he opened his eyes, he was scared by all the noise. What is this? Looking ahead, he noticed that large rocks were coming towards him, and then he began to scream with so much fear. But what, is that? She bent down to protect her. His head, while he had his hand on the ground, he felt dazed from all that commotion. He tried to get up with some difficulty. He placed his hand over his mouth as he inhaled a strong smell of gunpowder. The noise of a fuse being burned can be heard, and then a large explosion of artillery. Who was next to him got scared. He backed away for a moment without understanding what was happening. He continued with a look of fool, questioning himself until another explosion appeared next to him. But that, damn, can't you stop this? Looking to the side, noticed several standards raised where soldiers marching towards the confrontation. What's going on here? He soon realized that he seemed to be in the middle of a war block. Don't let them advance. Stop. At all costs. Without understanding what was happening, he was horrified by the scene. Which, damn, it's happening now. It was an unprecedented rush, while on one side ballistas. They fired nimbly at each other. Knights wielding swords blow creatures. I'm in the middle of a war. A soldier noticing his presence. His Imperial Highness ran towards him. When he realized that it was him, he observed the man coming towards him with great impetus. Sir, are you okay? Shocked, thinking that it could be an enemy soldier taking his distance, he screamed at you not to come near him. But the Lord told you not to come near him. The soldier was shocked, so he dropped his sword. I beg your Majesty's forgiveness. He prostrated himself before the protagonist as he began to cry, be merciful to me, Your Majesty. What's going on with this old man? Getting up again, he went. Even the man who was kneeling on the ground. Hey, sir, first calm down a little. Meanwhile, in front of him was a huge spiraling mass descending from the sky. As he realized that it was close to colliding and quickly moved away, but the explosion from the impact threw him away. Falling to the ground, he tried to regain his senses while he agonized, holding on. But what's wrong? Happening? This was a bomb. As he looked at his hand, one light began to radiate from the point of impact, and when he looked there, he saw the soldiers burning in that flame. Greenish. What is this around here? Around here the enemy is. As he approached, he noticed the presence of other soldiers heading quickly to a barricade. Don't let them climb. Here they charged fiercely, however, with great speed. Stabbed with tremendous force, he was in shock at the scene of the soldier's body being lifted with tremendous brutality, while an arm that had been torn off flew into his body. Direction falling in front of him, the blood had fallen into his face, and as he looked at that scene, started to get scared. It wasn't just several soldiers who were killed by stakes driven into their chests, and they all fall in agony in front of them. What's behind that wall was when a sinister creature with glowing red eyes and a dark carapace, a huge black spider, appeared in front of him, or stared thirstily. For blood she roared in his direction, making him cover his ears due to the huge noise. Other soldiers appeared saying that the warrior spiders had entered the walls, and they drove to confront them. However, they were easily killed by their lethal blows. I can't move. In fact, it wasn't something like in your life. Everyday life to see so many men being slaughtered in front of you. Is this a dream or me? I'm hallucinating, but this is a very unbelievable situation. The spider raised its leg and was ready to give the final blow to the protagonist when he wondered if that was really how he was going. Dying, Your Majesty, a blonde knight wielding his sword caused. It shone in a golden tone, applause, and with impetus he lifted it, making a flash illuminated the darkness of the heavens as the creature had been torn apart in half. Then he looked at the protagonist and said, "Ignore reality." It seems like a bit of a cliché reaction, huh? Said the protagonist, confused, while the person in front of him noticed his strange reaction and went to him, questioning his. "Your Majesty, why are you like this? Are you hurt? I noticed that your face." It was kind of familiar. Then he remembered the night in the game. "What? Lucas, I knew there was something wrong with your head, but I'm happy." Who finally remembered. "My name, even though I served as a guard for Your Majesty throughout your life, you had never called me by name." The protagonist was stunned when seeing that the knight of the game, Lucas, was ahead of him. Then he realized where. He turned around and looked further away, and could see that he had really entered the game. IR defense. Sweating cold, he noticed, and then said, "I'm completely too." Remembered that the game he had just finished with the greatest difficulty was literally a game where everything and anything in front of you should be eliminated in order to defeat the endless hordes of monsters. Would always be advancing until it was finished. This is a defense game without precedent. How am I going to get out of here alive? And then you left alike today, while the protagonist continued to question himself. The reason why this was happening was that several of those masses that caught fire were thrown against the wall of fortress, causing large explosions and throwing people to. What the hell? I'm into this game. Lucas took his attention for a moment. "Your Imperial Majesty, what was it about placing your hand on the prota's shoulder?" he said. "The enemies we are invading now are the army of black spiders. This advanced base of operation may be on the verge of collapse, even though these spiders are active during the day, and in a few minutes the sunset will happen." His sword, he realizes he was surrounded by spiders. "Until then, please do everything to support Your Majesty." The pro wondered why he was trying to protect and not. I understood why they were calling him Your Imperial Majesty. Who am I now? Time has passed, and night finally came while the soldiers searched for people still. Cheers. In the middle of that chaotic scenario, Lucas puts away his sword. Finally the sun. Now the army of black spiders began to retreat. "Which was Your Majesty?" The protagonist remained silent as he looked down and saw the absurd amount of carcasses of the spiders that had been killed in battle. "Lucas, yes, Your Majesty. When and where exactly am I?" "On the last day of February of the year 649 of the calendar Imperial. This is an advanced operating base. We are in the city of Fortaleza de Crossroads, so tomorrow must be the first day of March of the year 649. Exactly this. The protagonist remembered these circumstances as being an extremely familiar situation in an extremely familiar place, and that it was obvious to him because it was the same time and place as the tutorial that he had played hundreds of times. And that was when he finally realized that the character he assumed was Ash. "My name is Ash E.S. Vaughn. And having black." "That's right, Your Majesty," said Lucas without understanding what reason for that speech. "Why this happened to me of all people?" "Because I had to be this shit." This was the crazy psychopath of the Empire, third prince. He was absolutely the worst commander, had made most of the soldiers in Fortaleza city perish, and was also he's the character who had the worst end in the tutorial, because I had to end up in this idiot's body in the meantime. The commander's exclusive dormitory, You damn idiot. You should only have. I stayed in the city of Fortaleza because I had to leave there. I'm going to end up going crazy like this, the CL game. Defense Empire, and Defense the real reason why this game is so well known for its terrifying difficulty is its highest difficulty level called Infernal. There is also Iron Man mode which saves your progress forcibly, and combining these two modes, we have the difficulty known as Man of Infernal Iron, and I was the only person who managed to clear this mode. No matter where I am in the game, I can trust my skills to get by, but not in this. Currently not in this part of the system window tutorial because this phase is impossible to complete. Tutorial was created for you to simply fail. It doesn't matter how hard you try because the story only begins when Lucas escapes alone from invasion of monsters in this game that lasts 3 years. The army of black spiders are monsters that you can only hunt when you reach the middle of your 2nd year. How would you give it to defeat hundreds of them when the game has just started? I don't need to concentrate. I'm classic nerd. This is just another one of the games you've already completed before. If I can combine my knowledge and experience, somehow I will be able to find a solution. For some time while he was looking at the system looking for something, he was in shock. There is none, but how great. Bad joke. Why did they put me here without giving me anything useful? Which is this level of these stupid spiders? Level 55, level 50. And what do you mean there are more than one? What the hell is this shit? Not to mention the durability of the castle wall that at the end, the only useful thing I'll have here is this cannon. So what am I going to do now? The chances of survival from here are very low. Thinking like that, but even so I need to find a method that gives me a higher success rate. That's it. I can do this if I want the biggest problem of playing Man of Iron. It's because there's no way to save and reload the game. So the first time you mess up the game, whole is ruined, and that is why it is so difficult to find ideal action for each and every second in the game. But for the period that I've been playing this in the last half year, I've always noticed one thing. There is a way to deal with every situation and end up finding a way to survive. He continued and continued, searching for more properties that could help him confront that horde of monsters. Was when he came across something, and it caused a certain impact on him, and it was then that he went out the door kicking and calling for Lucas. Where are you? Lucas, yours. Your Majesty, I'm here. What can I do? Quickly, I need you to join the group. About my direct control. Speaking in a group, you are trying to refer to your guards. Our Majesty, is that you? Never called for them before, so why suddenly forget about it and just call them soon? For me, I finally managed to think of a way to overcoming this situation. Sometime later, Beauty, it seems like everyone is here, right? Apart from Lucas, there were 3 other people there in that room. The protagonist realized that they were familiar faces. Lily, who Idian, and so thought they must really be family because he had witnessed her death countless times. Anyway, why is he like that? Demon was whimpering in one of the corners of the room, and then Lily replied it was because he lost a companion of his today. Please, I ask you to understand him soon. Remembered that this person was also like this during the game's tutorial, and how he had been afflicted by a abnormal condition from the beginning. He was the first to die and remembered that he couldn't use the character anyway. He was a healer, the most important position, so let's start. I'll use this time. We have to explain to all of you what each one's role will be today. First, Lily, yes, yours. Imperial Majesty remembered that she was a mage capable of using fire-type attacks, and being damaged from this group, she was able to hit the powerful spell behind them. Another, you will be our precise shield that blocks the attacks of spiders as our main tank, but your Imperial Majesty, I am a mage, and you who remembered that he was a squire knight capable of attract attention in the vanguard, he was usually an area provocateur used to attract the creature's attention and take attacks on your body. Since it was a tank, you will infiltrate secretly in the middle of the formation one of them, and the ones in the way infiltrate me. Get in the way, and the next Damien from now on you will be making this group sniper need him to shoot at the most important, and lastly Lucas, you will command the remaining soldiers and keep the vanguard. All remained silent, while the protagonist waited for some response, who gritted his teeth, nerves when he hit the wall, and exclaimed, "What the hell do you call that shit? Plan? Are you really serious? Your Imperial Majesty, are you? Took all of our time in a dangerous situation like this because of a mistaken command, as you can say these nonsense in such a serious way." Proto realized that he was reacting to the personality and didn't really know him. In his mind it was very clear that because he was of a phase almost impossible to complete with conventional methods, he would need to use everything available within his reach to be able to win, and that was why he could not retreat. Now Huamin, the son of the Emperor and the commander, supreme officer of this whole place, you are showing insubordination. Everyone seemed frightened by those words, and when he realized what he had done, "Your Majesty," the protagonist, began to tremble. While he seemed to exude a threatening aura, he ended up having to play the role of the psychopathic nut himself who. It was Ash von der Black. He got up from his chair and walked towards Lily, disembarking, hissed his sword while thinking that he needed to have absolute and total control of everything and everyone around him, and for this, he needed to show his determination. Where Lily had been hit by. Daga started to catch fire, and soon the fire increased, taking over what would be the cut on her body. Everyone was left there, surprised by this turn of events, and then Proto said, "Yes, that's exactly what you saw." He thought then. He didn't know if this was a joke from the developer or something like that, but everyone. The characters in the tutorial have a hidden characteristic. They are special characteristics, apparently very contradictory to your original positions. Lily, you were cut by a blade when you were a child, wasn't it, when the horde of gobs invaded your village? After this incident you gained the fire skin trait. This was a skill acquired by his great fear of edged weapons. His property was transform your body into deflecting all physical damage caused, and thus consuming magic points. As long as you have mana enough, you can dodge all physical attacks. Rongshi remained silent with tears in his eyes. He thought this was a tank trait in the main, cause damage, and that is why it could not be used properly within the game. But now that the game had become its main card, could this feature be? As he smiled with a look of satisfaction, continued to thinking about a phase that is impossible to finish. It's obvious that I don't have. Choose not to cheat. You can wait for me. I will find you. You want me? Set it into this game of yours, __. I'm going to clear this boss game, and when I'm done I'm going to fill you with beating. As he took out the blade, he apologized for using such a frightening method to prove his point. "It's okay, Your Majesty, but how did you find out about this?" Don't worry. It's something important at the moment, and the next one is who said the protagonist with an aura. Evil, you were a thief when you were a child. You were a person from the favela who. There were mouths to feed. I bet it was very difficult to become a gutter. How did you know that? As I already said, it doesn't matter now anyway. The important thing is what you can do. Your characteristic was a little thief's method of survival. Basically allowed you to reduce your presence in front of danger, and thus avoid attracting attention. You can be stealthy when you want to be unable to hide, while avoiding attracting attention. Give me the answer, Goa, or I'll need to give another example. You're right. Sir, I can do this okay, so you should be able to fulfill the. My order also placed the dagger on the table, and continued, and finally. Demand he walked there while thinking that he was the most important person for. Carry out your plan. You have a great vision that must not be why you. He was able to vividly see the death of his friend, and he lowered his head, as he said it was a childhood friend. They were from the same orphanage, and in the middle of the battle, he sacrificed himself for me and for. Why did you bring us here, Your Majesty? Why? Your goal or our lives are nothing more than mere entertainment for you because. Please return the van. I will return my friend. Bring him back to me. Comes back, placing his hand on his shoulder. He looked straight into his eyes to talk. You can blame me if you want. You can even despise me, but your friend then gave his life to save you, and you're just going to sit there crying for his death? Just because you're about to give up because of a rubbish commander, you're really going to give up on your life, even though he gave his for yours. You need to hold on with everything you have and take revenge for him. Kill the spiders, get out of here alive, and taught me a lesson. Damien, you don't want to kill these damn spiders, yes? And you want to kill me, He stopped for a moment, and then answered yes. Everyone there was scared by this answer, imagining that Proto might think it's cool. I promise this. AG guys, we get out of this alive. You'll be the one who kills me no matter what. Your Majesty, what are you saying? If the plan fails, we will die of. Anyway, if you can do this, I'll let you kill me if it's what will make you better. I promise this in the name of the Imperial family. So please just follow the instructions. My orders for another day. The protagonist, while looking at Demi, imagined that sometimes it was necessary. Use hate as fuel. Even if that hate has to be directed at him, I won't give it. Sorry, because of my mistake our army was almost exterminated, but if you follow my plan. Now the sound of drums can be heard as soldiers shout, the army of black spiders is coming here. The monsters are coming your way. Your Majesty, everything will really be fine. Don't worry. Just do what I said. Yes. Sir, they started to press the hundreds, aiming towards walls. The plan is very simple. While the team buys time, we will find a queen giving orders to the monsters, and so on. Blow up this damn spider's head. As a mana cannon, how do we remove the restriction? Let's go. Thank you very much for watching the videos so far. Subscribe to the channel to bring more videos like this to you. Thank you very much, and see you next time.